Farming RPGs may not sound exciting, but ever since Harvest Moon launched for the Super Nintendo in 1996, the subgenre has had a dedicated fan base. A decade ago, the series stagnated and split in two due to licensing issues. Meanwhile, a single indie developer decided to modernize the formula and spend 4 years coding Stardew Valley. It launched in February 2016 and has been ported to every platform since, while selling over 15 million copies. It just arrived on Game Pass, but should you play it until the cows come home or send it out to pasture? Let's find out if Stardew Valley is a Game Pass or a game fail. The game opens with your grandpa on his deathbed. He hands you an envelope and tells you to open it when you're crushed by the burdens of modern life. Some years later, you are part of the corporate grind and decide to crack it open. It's the deed to your grandpa's farm in Stardew Valley. After you settle into the farming lifestyle, the town leader takes you to the dilapidated community center that he's on the verge of selling. There, you spot some spirits and a mysterious scroll. One potion from the local wizard later, and you learn that the spirits will help you in exchange for gifts from the valley. It's up to you to grow the farm, befriend the townsfolk, and restore the community center to glory. Both the blessing and the curse of Stardew Valley is its lack of direction. The game gives you initial quests to teach you the basics, but beyond that, you're on your own. It doesn't directly tell you how to do everything, so you must fumble through the menus to uncover how mechanics like crafting work. We recommend keeping a guide on standby, but only use it as a reference for things like the location of a specific resource or an NPC's schedule. Stardew Valley starts very slow. It takes about a week of in-game time to unlock all the main activities like fishing, mining, and the community center. This limits how fast you can earn money and buy things like the first backpack upgrade that essentially triples the amount of stuff you can carry. There's also an energy meter that governs how much you can accomplish each day, and it takes quite a while to get it to an acceptable level. Even so, learning the map, foraging for goods, and meeting folks in town will keep you occupied until then. There's a surprising amount of stuff you can do in Stardew Valley beyond maintaining your farm. Exploring the mines takes the form of a Zelda-like dungeon crawler where you defeat enemies and break rocks to gain minerals and access to new areas. Showering the townspeople with gifts eventually turns into romance and marriage if you want it to. Town festivals happen intermittently, and each has its own minigames to play for various rewards. Then there's fishing, cooking, raising animals, and so much more. You can also choose to sell out to a mega corporation, which unlocks an entirely new story and progression arc. As if that's not enough, there's even local and online multiplayer. If there's one complaint, it's that the controls aren't that precise. It's been developed for a mouse and keyboard, and while the controller support isn't terrible, it's telling that the right analog stick brings up a mouse cursor as a failsafe. You select items using a toolbar instead of assigning them to specific buttons. Everything functions on a simple grid, but don't be surprised if you accidentally water or chop the wrong tile occasionally. Since each action drains the energy meter, it can be a costly mistake. The RPG gameplay in the mines is a little rough for something so prominent. Even basic enemies take a lot of hits to kill, and the hit detection is iffy with basic weapons. The obvious comp for Stardew Valley is Farming Simulator 19, but they are much farther apart than you'd think. Farming Simulator is more focused on the mechanics and business of farming, while Stardew Valley is story-driven and has a much wider scope. Atomic Crops goes in the opposite direction since it places the focus on roguelike bullet hell gameplay. Moonglow Bay is a similar hybrid of sim and RPG, but with a focus on fishing instead of farming. If you care more about the relationships and life sim aspects, the Sims games are about as good as it gets. The Sims 3 even includes basic gardening. The Sims 4 recently added a more robust farming career, but it's locked behind an expansion pack not included with Game Pass. Now it's time to find out, is Stardew Valley a Game Pass or a game fail? It's hard to sum up Stardew Valley because there is so much going on. It's more than a competent clone of Harvest Moon, and it's enjoyed so many updates since launch that it can almost be overwhelming. It's exceedingly charming, and the town, characters, and design could only have come from a single developer's laser-focused vision. Other comps perform individual pieces better, but its cohesive whole is difficult to find this side of Animal Crossing. Its slow pace isn't for everyone, but if you give it a try, it might become your latest obsession. Stardew Valley gets a Game Pass. For next week, we are looking at Halo Infinite.